Hello, good morning, student. Welcome to our revision class. And today we'll be looking at the authoritarian critique within the context of criticism. And we are going to be looking at some of the specific sections that talks about freedom of expression. And we'll be using the authoritarian critique to, interrogate some of these sections. And we'll also be looking at the demands or the requirements of, critical thinking. Now, first, if you look at the constitutional provisions of freedom of expression in Nigeria, starting from section 24 of the 1960 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which guarantee freedom of expression, which that section 24 later becomes section 25 of the 1963 Constitution, which is also talking about the freedom of expression of the media. And section 25 later become section 38 of the 1989 Constitution. And section 38 later becomes section 40 of the 1995 Constitution, which is also talking about freedom of expression of the media. And then section 40 later become, section, 39 of the 1999 Constitution. If you look at the provision of those sections within the constitutional framework, all these sections provide freedom of expression of the media, especially section 39, subsection 1, guarantee, press freedom. If you also look at subsection 2 of section 39, also state that, individuals can, operate, media platform. They can be able to establish, media platform like radio, TV, newspapers, and then, other form of, media organizations. Now, if you also look at section 39, subsection 3, also place a limitation to this freedom of expression. But this can be best understood if you look at section 45 of the 1999 Constitution, which say that nothing in section 37, 38, 39, 40 and 41 of the Constitution shall invalidate any law that is reasonably justifiable in a democratic society. Which means there's a limitation to that freedom of expression. And using the authoritarian critique, theory, we can also, say that based on the provision of section 39, subsection 1 and subsection 2 is being limited, because if you look at the provision of section 39, subsection 3, also state that nothing in this, section shall invalidate any law that is reasonably justifiable in a democratic society. A, for the interest of public safety, public morality, public order, public health, and public defense. Now, if you look at section B of section 3, he said that it's also to protect the interests and safety and the interests of others. So, if you can see, this provision is taking away the freedom of expression that is allotted to the media. Look at section 22 of the 1999 Constitution, also provide or guarantee the media the freedom to hold government accountable to the people, that it empower the media to undertake that watchdog functions to hold government accountable to the people, which other communication scholars argue within the context that the media in this section 22 is being empowered to function as the fourth estate of the realm, meaning that the media operate as the fourth estate of the realm to checkmate the activities of other, three arms of the government, that is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, which means the media as the fourth estate of the realm checkmate the activities of the other three arms of the government. So these are the constitutional provision of those, section of the media that guarantee freedom of expression. Aside the Constitution of Nigeria, if you also look at Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, also provide, freedom of expression. But within the authoritarian critic theory, scholars who subscribe to this notion also challenge the assumptions, the provisions, that some of these, provisions are just mere myth. They does not actually hold ground, or does not give sufficient power to the media, which some scholars also argue within the critic context that the operation of the media are somewhat limited, which means there is no absolute freedom anywhere when you come to press freedom, because the authoritarian, those who control the power, those who owns the means, tend to exercise control over the media content. So on one hand, the media are giving freedom of expression, but on the other hand, such freedoms have been taken away or restricted. And this is where you also see some laws, like laws of defamation, laws of sedition, laws of privacy, among others, laws of obscenity, which also hinder the full, operation of the media within the democratic setting and in other, areas. So, in a summary, when we talk of the authoritarian theory of critics, it's looking at how we can also use this theory to critique some of the specific sections in the Constitution that, guarantee press freedom, but some of how this, press freedom are also limited within, some of this, framework in the Constitution and other provisions. Now, having said that, let's also look at the requirement for, critic thinking. Now, what are the requirements for critic thinking? We talk of, analysis. As a critic thinker, you must have the ability to analyze, interpret issues, assess them. Another requirement is synthesis, interrogating, correlating argument, existing argument with other arguments, so that you can be able to make a well and informed decision. You cross-check other, work of art, and then you relate it within the context of what you are critiquing, or you are assessing, or you are evaluating. That is synthesis. Now, we also talk of interpretation. You interpret issues. You must have the skills, the ability to also subject that work of art into critical interpretation, so that you can be able to come up with, a well-informed decision on that work of art. We also talk of evaluation, assessing the quality of the content within the context of what you are, reviewing. You also critically look at it objectively, whether it meets the demand or the standard of the audience. You must also establish facts, reasons within which students can be able to, spend their quality time in reading or in, going through the work of art. So we also have self-evaluation. We also have inference. All these things are requirements that a critic thinker should be able to possess, so that he can be able to critically, assess the content or evaluate the work of art. So thank you very much. This is just a revision of what we have discussed in the previous classes. So I'm just giving you a synopsis so that it can help you in today's, engagement. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the next class, where we'll be discussing, issues within the context of, critical thinking and review. Thank you very much.